No, in elementary school, I or high school, I did a lot of stuff to get in trouble because I was already getting in trouble. My mom was always picking my brother.
Learn the ways of the goddess and accomplish much more with so much less effort. Welcome to Your Goddess Awakened with Hallie Evelyn, a show dedicated to helping you embrace your divine feminine and nurture your inner goddess for a radiant life. We invite you to join us every week to receive goddess wisdom that will help you through your current obstacles and lifelong traumas. Awaken the goddess within you and transform your business and your life, only here on Your Goddess Awakened.
Hello, and welcome to another episode of Your Goddess Awakened. This is one of our trauma clearing episodes, and with me I have the beautiful Selma Blunk. So Selma, thank you so much for being here today.
Thank you. I'm honored.
Well, I'm certainly hoping we can help you. So to that end, I would love to hear what it is that if in the next hour you could wave a magic wand and change your life, what would you shift?
I would love to shift feeling confident and capable to express myself freely in all aspects of my life, meaning personal, creating my business, the family, and keeping my word to myself with commitments.
And just a reminder before we dive in, on a deeper level, that everything starts there. It's our commitments to ourselves that allow us to feel like we have the ability. Just a quick reminder before we move forward that it is our commitments to ourselves that everything else stems from. So it's like you have to have a really strong foundation to your house in order to, build the walls and to have the lovely roof. Otherwise, everything collapses. And it's the same thing for our commitments. When we don't keep commitments to ourselves, it's like saying, well, I have a shaky foundation, because that's that internal scaffolding that you're building so that you can build the nice strong walls on top of it. So I work with clients all the time who will say like, oh, I'm really great about everything except I have money problems. Oh, okay. Well, how are your money commitments? Well, I, hide my head under the covers for a month. And then once a month, I take my head out from under the covers, pay the bills, stick my head back under the covers. No wonder you have money problems, right? Because you've got that shaky foundation. So by the same token, I feel like we're going to find that when you shore up your commitments to yourself, that will help you find your voice in other regards. So I'm already excited because I feel like we found a clue. And you may see me looking down occasionally, but because this is an actual session, sometimes I need notes about stuff. And so that's something I'm going to be putting in my trusty notebook here. So thank you. So let's start there really quickly. Give me an example of a commitment that you haven't kept to yourself.
I told myself that I'd be waking up at 5 a.m. to meditate and do my walk.
Okay, now what happens if you don't get up at 5 o'clock in the morning? What would happen if you got up at 8, meditated, and did your walk? Like, why does it have to be 5 a.m.?
Because I already have like something in place at 7 a.m. and then my day kind of starts, and it just kind of, I have the intention of doing the schoolwork and studying, but my day just kind of goes all over the place. And then it's the end of the day and I didn't do the few things that I know that if I get up at 5, I know that those two, there's no excuses. I just got to get up at 5. And I did it for a while, and then I got comfortable and tired and started moving things around, and I'm not feeling successful in that at all.
Yeah. And again, this is the strong foundation stuff that we were just talking about, right? So without the strong foundation, you don't have the ability to feel like you can move through. So it torpedoes your whole day because you're like, well, I didn't do this. Now I didn't do this. There's a famous military gentleman. I think it's a colonel, but I'm not 100% sure. But he wrote a book where the basic tenet of the book is make your bed every morning, because then you'll have done one thing that you have control over, and it will snowball into the rest of your day. And I loved that, because what he was saying was, do the thing that you have the control over so that you will feel like you're in control, so that then you will continue to feel like you're in control as you go through your day, and have other things that are like little things that are in your control will begin to give you the gift of, I have control over my life. And that is a big energetic shift as well. You know, Mel Robbins, no relation to Tony, she has the principle of giving the 5-second rule. So if you don't want to do something, you say 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, and then you do it. So you give yourself 5 seconds, the count of 5, to just shift into that thing, and then no excuses, you have to do it. So maybe the 5-second rule will be useful to you. Let's talk about, if you know it has to be 5 o'clock in the morning. And the reason I asked about 8 is that a lot of times we have these rules that we create for ourselves, but they're not useful. They're not accurate. So we self-sabotage. So I was just checking to see if that self-sabotage was there. Let's go back into the idea of you getting up at 5 o'clock in the morning. So what happens? Do you set your alarm for 5, or you don't even set your alarm?
I used to set the alarm at 4:45 and I'd be up, just get it done. Because by 8 o'clock in the morning, I've done my workout, I've done my meditation, and I've ready to start my call that I do with a friend of mine we're getting through a class together. So every day, that's a commitment at 7 a.m. that I'm on the phone with her.
Right.
So by not 8 o'clock in the morning, I feel like I've already done so much. So even if the day gets away from me, it's like I've already done the biggest things.
So we're not going to spend the whole time on this, although we absolutely could, because time management is like such a huge thing. But the important thing is to like get down underneath of why that's not working. And what I'm wondering is, like, for example, I work out, like, period, the end, I'm working out an hour a day right now. But I do not do an hour a day every day in an hour chunk. Some days I do 15 minutes 4 times. Some days I do 30 minutes, 30 minutes. Some days I do an hour. It depends on what it is that I want to do. But I have 2 commitments to myself physically. One is to use a particular app that I love called Mad Bars. That's basically like isometric exercises. And the other one is to, get the rest of my exercise through yoga and through walking. So I'm doing all of those things, but I'm not necessarily doing them in the same order at the same time every day. So what if you had the commitment to do it no matter how late you stayed up at night as well? Because I have found myself walking at 11:30 at night because I didn't do it before then, and I'm keeping my commitment to myself. So would it be okay with you? Because what's happening right now is at 5 o'clock in the morning, if you're not out of bed, and at 7 o'clock in the morning, if you're not complete with those things, you are a failure for the rest of your day. Like, you've decided. And by the way, it is the decision that you're a failure that's the problem, not you actually being a failure. You're not. You're a human being. We all, and more importantly, you're a human being, not a human doing, right? So we tend to confuse those things. And we think that if we're not doing all the time, if we're not accomplishing the things that we need to accomplish, that we set for ourselves, which, by the way, these are our goals that we're failing, right? I'm sorry, did somebody like come in and say, Selma, you won't get paid if you don't, get up at 5 o'clock in the morning and work out by 7? No, you just said, oh, I want to do this. And now you're sure you're failing yourself because you're not doing it, or you're not doing it consistently. So what we want to get away from first and foremost is the story that we're not doing enough, that we're not good enough. We want to get away from that story. And we want to get away from the story that says that we should, right? That old expression, like, don't should all over yourself. We want to get away from that feeling of we should do something, we're not doing it, and therefore making ourselves bad or wrong. That's really where the biggest part of this problem comes in. So could you commit to yourself that before you go to sleep every night, all of it will be done?
Yes.
Only because you're welcome to get up at 5 o'clock every morning, or 4:45. By the way, what time did you go to sleep every night to get up at 4:45 every morning?
I was going to bed around 9.
And
9:30.
Now, what time are you going to bed?
Closer to 11.
Right. So you want to be able to get up at 5 o'clock in the morning, try shifting your bedtime, right? There's an answer to everything. It's just,
right.
What do we want? Right. So, I find, like, I just was doing a program recently. I sound like a fitness nut, but trust me, I'm not. I was doing a program recently called 75 Hard, where, among other things, I didn't drink alcohol for 75 days. And I was drinking a gallon of water. And I suddenly needed less sleep than I've ever needed in my life. Like, if I got more than 6 hours, it was a good day, and I didn't need it. Whereas normally I'm like 9 hours and I'm a happy camper. So you are not in necessarily a situation where you aren't getting enough sleep. Maybe it's just you're not getting the right sleep, or maybe there's other habits, like if you're having a half a bottle of wine before you go to sleep at night. And I'm not saying you are, but I'm saying, like, those are things that, like, sabotage us, interfere with our sleep, and we don't even realize it. And then it's hard to wake up the next morning. So you want to kind of like do a little bit of an audit about what you're doing. But the important thing, the takeaway here is, don't make yourself wrong, because you set the intentions, and you set the intentions so that you could be healthy every day. So set the intentions that you're healthy every day, make healthy choices every day. And then you don't have to beat yourself up because, oh, I didn't meditate today, or I only got to have my workout every other day, or whatever. Does that make sense?
Yes, absolutely.
Now, one of the things I discovered in 75 Hard, again, about keeping that really strong foundation, is I thrive on structure more than I realized. Like, 75 Hard has almost like a boot camp structure to it. And I was like, let's do this. Like, for 75 days, I was like, let's do this. Not even just like for the first 3 days, like I was expecting. What do you thrive on structure? Do you know that about yourself?
Structure and accountability is a lot better for me.
Okay. So it's perfectly fine for you to keep getting up at 5 o'clock in the morning. It's perfectly fine for you to keep getting up at 5 o'clock in the morning, setting the intention that you're going to do the work and do the work. The only piece of it that isn't fine, and being accountable to another person, the only piece of it that isn't fine is making yourself wrong when you don't do it. That's the piece that will never support you. Now we're going to go back, like, way down the rabbit hole, because I'm guessing this is something that has come up for you, like, since you were a kid. Would you agree?
Yes.
So what happened? Tell me about when you were a kid. What would have happened if you weren't accountable for something, or if you screwed up in some way, or didn't do something on a time frame that you were supposed to? Like, what would happen under those circumstances?
I feel that that's a sidebar. I mean, looking at it, because we started with me being able to express myself and stuff. And I think it's like me without that self-talk of, oh, see, you can't do it. So it's like, it's a behavior that's an offset of my voice isn't heard. And even I don't hear myself telling myself I'm going to do this. And then I don't listen to myself. So I think it's, because when I was a child, my mom wasn't really available emotionally to me. And so I got in a lot of trouble for not doing my homework because I really struggled with learning. And I don't know that I struggled with learning or if it was my way of getting attention. So bad attention was better than none. So I just, since I was a child, um, I needed to go to like, although I was born here, my parents spoke Spanish in the home, so I had to go to English as a second language. So I was different than the other kids, and I did that for like 2 or 3 years. And then my parents got divorced. My dad left, and my mom told me it was my fault. And so I
What?
just learned. Yes, I learned. Yes,
I'm sorry. Our parents have such bad tools. They really do. I mean, I like to say everyone's always doing their best. It's just sometimes that sucks. That's one of those examples. So I'm so sorry that happened to you. Have you reconciled with her to the point where you've forgiven her for that and she knows that, and you know that that's not true?
I recently spoke to her about it because when my dad was leaving, she looked at me and said, "He's leaving because you used to turn on the heating blanket." I think I was very jealous of my brother. So I was looking for attention in any way I could get it at home. I was very mischievous, but I was a good kid. I was just mischievous. So I used to turn on the electric blanket on their beds every night. I remember that very clearly. And I thought it was so funny. So when he left, she said, "He's leaving because you always turn on the electric blanket at night during the day. And when we get in bed, it's hot, the bed's hot," or whatever she said. So that was really like from that point forward, it was like I've always tried to not be the person who gets in trouble. I mean, I don't want to be the creator of anybody else's issues, is what I'm attempting to say. So I'm very like, I just don't get into conflictive situations, and I'm very it's hard, it's been difficult for me to express myself, so I have been stepping into expressing myself more, and it's very uncomfortable and scary, and I don't always have the words to know how to do that.
Well, if it makes you feel any better, like you just articulated all of that beautifully. So I feel like trusting yourself is a process, right? You're working out at a new gym, and this new gym is, like the gym of your trust. And so it's really hard to get into that space where you feel like, oh, I can just talk and talk and talk and I can express myself perfectly, because however old you are, you've spent the bulk of your life feeling like you couldn't express yourself, you didn't deserve to express yourself, you weren't allowed to, and dire consequences would occur if you did. Now, it wasn't verbally the thing with the blanket, but I take it that was the end of your mischievous tendencies, right? You stopped because you felt, no, at that time you didn't stop.
No, in elementary school, I or high school, I did a lot of stuff to get in trouble because I was already getting in trouble. My mom was always, it felt like, picking my brother, because now it was my mom, my brother, and and I couldn't get her to, I guess, love me or acknowledge me. So I ended up just always doing things to get, I was grounded every week. So even if I didn't do anything, I was in trouble. So I just gave up on stuff because I was constantly in trouble and getting hit. She used to hit me because she would be drunk, and it was like I I didn't know how to get her love. And I was a
And,
good kid. I wasn't doing drugs. I wasn't smoking. I wasn't stealing. I was just doing stupid stuff like getting kicked out of the library for bothering people, or just
of course.
like locking the teacher out of the classroom, stupid stuff, just getting kicked out of school for that, just but I wasn't sleeping around. I wasn't doing anything like
really bad.
yeah, really bad. And
Because you wanted her to love you. Yeah.
and I'm still looking for her acceptance, and I still can't get. I'm learning to not have any expectancy of her and just keeping her at a distance. Because my brother, who's 52 years old, is living off of her, and it's like it's in my face even to this day. This is not being good enough to get her love. So if I don't love myself, and I don't know, it just really hurts. I'm sorry.
Don't apologize. I'd be surprised if you weren't crying. Take a minute. Don't even worry about it.
And I have it so it's so deep in the closet because I don't like to look at it. I don't. I try to act like I don't try to act. I've tried to just accept it, and when I dig in there, it's really hard. That she might die one day, and I'll never, not never, I will have had to figure out how to just be an acceptance of it all, which I guess is okay. I'm just not there yet.
Well, you're going to have to figure that out anyway, whether she dies someday or tomorrow. It's still, we human
Like, I
beings.
gave her a ham the other day, and she freaking calls me and says, "Can I take the ham back to Costco? It's too big." It's like, are you freaking kidding me? This was like right after Christmas Day, and I had a bunch of other problems going on. And it was like, that was just such a big dig that I couldn't, everything else that was going on during that time was so overwhelming because like you said, my foundation was so shook that you're right. I had never thought about it like that.
I like to say we meditate 15 minutes a day to keep away the crazy, the other 23 hours and 45 minutes of our day. It really does make a big difference to have that strong foundation. So I want you to promise me that you're going to dive into getting, whether it's the 5 a.m. routine or another routine, but getting a routine that supports you so that you can feel resilient, because right now you're not resilient. You're, it was a ham. And if she wanted to take it back because she didn't want to waste it because it was too big, who cares? If she had called me up and said, "I want to take your ham back," I would have been like, "Do you want me to come pick it up, or should I just give you the receipt?" Right? Elizabeth Gilbert said, I can't take credit for this line because it was just so brilliant. Our parents push our buttons, know exactly how to push our buttons because they installed them. And that's it. It wouldn't bother me a bit if your mom could have 6 hams or no hams. Who cares? She pushed your button and hard. It's as absurd as the ham is. That's the way that it works until the day that it doesn't. And today's your day. Congratulations. Because today we're going to reprogram you to not be triggered by mom. And we're going to do that by energetically separating you and your mother out. And I want to say that we're in symbiotic relationships with our parents, right? Especially mom, right? She grows you in her stomach. That is a big deal, right? That is a really, really, really big gift. And then she either lets somebody cut her open. I've heard cesarean sections compared to like the gutting of a pig. So you either like lets them cut her open, or she squeezes you out through a very, very, very tiny hole that has to fit your very much larger head, screaming all the while so that you can come into the world. So big, 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 big honking gift. But so many parents have that attitude afterwards of, I brought you into this world and I can take you back out. And like, Ozies is going to be permanent, right? So I have seen plenty of women in their adulthood, plenty older than you, still stuck in that exact same relationship of, I've got a child, mom, loop going, and I can never get out of it. And it's important that you recognize that you're the only one that can free yourself from this cycle. Your mother can't, because she wants to be able to call you up and poke you about your Christmas ham, right? That's that's going to give her energy, because she's busy running the negative energy routines. And up until now, there's been this kind of energy exchange between the two of you of negative energy and negative energy, because it's the habits that you both set up. And so we got to break that in order for you to be free. Your mother, by the way, will continue to show up exactly the way that she has been showing up. Exactly. Which is no longer going to be any of your business, right? What other people think about me is none of my business. That's going to be true of mom also. However, you will get a chance to see her energy shift, because as I said before, it was a symbiotic energy exchange, right? And that symbiotic energy exchange is going to have shifted. Once she senses the shift, she'll start poking you even harder, right? You're going to be poked in your Christmas ham a lot, young lady. Only when you don't respond to that, she will then try new methods and eventually go a different way. That energy will go to somebody else, maybe to your brother because he lives with her. That energy will morph into a new way of you two being together. Now, why does it work that way? I don't really know. I know that it works that way because after hundreds of clients, I've seen over and over and over again that once we break the energy pattern, it breaks everything and a new energy pattern can form. But at first, all that's going to happen is you'll have relief, because when she calls you up and pokes you in your Christmas ham, you'll see it for what it is, which is absurd. As absurd as telling you that it was your fault that your father was leaving over that blanket. Now, we're going to go back to that situation, that moment, because it was a catalyst for you. We're going to go back there first. So I want you to close your eyes.
I remember it like it was yesterday. I see everything, what happened in that patio.
Well, we're going to go back there right now. And I want you to close your eyes so you don't even have the interference of me, but we're going to go walk you through there. So tell me, see, hear, taste, touch, and smell as if you were there. And by the way, these moments that we remember crystal clear like this, that's what's going on. The reason that you remember that moment crystal clear is that it is a seminal moment in your life. And in a way, you are still living it. And that's why it's so clear to you, because in a way, you are still there every day or every time something like this comes up. And it's causing you to repeat pain. You're reliving the emotion. You're reliving the experience every time. After today, the memory will start to fade, and let it, because you won't ever want to see this the way that you're seeing this today. It's you sending your energy back in time almost, right? And since there's no really on the highest level, there's no time and space, you're bringing the energy of that into your current moment. So it's not even that you're sending it back in time. That would be bad enough. You're bringing that old energy here, and you're continuing to feed off of it in a negative way. That's why it still hurts. Okay, so that's what we're going to break today. So close your eyes and tell me, what do you see, hear, taste, touch, and smell?
were in the front of the house. We had um, like a a balcony, like porch. It's a porch.
Mhm.
It's a porch. It's white. The house is blue. My mom and I are standing at the door jamb, the the door jamb thing, the door at the front of the house. And my dad is there was like three steps, and he's standing at the top of the step, and they're saying something to each other. I can't recall what they're saying. And he said, "Okay, I'm going to leave then." I've been told that what they were saying was that he would come back to the house for the children, and that my mom said, "If you don't love me, I don't want you're not coming back. It's for me, and
But
not for the children."
that's what you've been told by
That's
your mother or
yeah.
by somebody
My
else?
my dad actually, I approached him about this about a year ago, and he said, I asked him what happened that day. Was it because of the blanket? And he said he's never wanted to talk to me about it. He didn't even want to talk to me about it because he doesn't want me to have whatever.
Bad
And so I
memories
said,
about it.
yeah, or about my mom.
Yeah.
Or so I said, Dad, I have to know, I have to understand why you left that day. So he finally told me the whole backstory. And basically he said that that day she said um, that he could stay if it was for her. And so I remember him standing there. She was dressed with her updo thing that they used to wear in the early 70s, and she looked nice. And my dad he was always dressed like in slacks and a dress shirt. He was always dressed very professional. They're both chemists, pharmacists. And so I remember him saying, okay, then I'm going to leave. And he starts to walk down the stairs. And I just remember looking at my mom and like in disbelief. And my mom looked at me in my eyes and said, he's leaving because you always turn on the heating blanket and he doesn't like that. And I said, but it was just, I was playing. And she said, well, this is this is what happened. He's leaving because of that. And I was like in such
Okay.
disbelief and
Hold on. Okay. Hold on.
crying.
Hold on. Hold on. Stay where you are. Keep your eyes closed. I need you to go and stand in that space in your mind's eye.
And it was a beautiful day. And I'm just standing there. And I was like 6 or 7 years old.
Okay.
In
Selma,
life, I was so happy until that moment.
your father didn't say goodbye to you, did he?
I don't think so.
And nobody explained anything to you.
No, other than it was my fault. I don't believe my dad said bye.
Okay.
He was
Free,
leaving.
freeze the moment. Freeze the moment and step out of the moment. Keep releasing this until you're all the way through to the other side of it.
I'm so sorry. I don't mean to do this.
It's okay. You kept this bottled up inside of you for, over 40 years. Let's get through to the other side of it.
Okay.
Deep breath.
Sorry about all this.
It's all right. If I had known that it was going to set you off like that, I wouldn't have asked you. Normally, like when the things are when I deal with women all the time who have been raped or who have like seen murder the craziest things. And I never ever ask anybody to walk all the way into that kind of scenario because it's not necessary to fully relive the trauma. But we kind of got you down there first before I realized what was going on. So I know that you're feeling back to center now. And I want to invite you not to go and be inside of the experience. Instead, I want to invite you to go and watch as if you were standing aside so that you can see everybody there. You can see your 6 or 7-year-old self. You can see your mother, you can see your father, but you're still Selma today. Okay. So go back to the porch, but go back on the outside. You can see Selma. It's like a movie playing, but it's no longer that you're inside of the scenario. Okay. And this keeps you safe and protected, and it keeps your emotions protected. We're here to get some information. Okay. So,
Thank you.
of course. So look at your dad. Now, you know it wasn't about the blanket, right? Close your eyes. Look at your dad on the porch. You know it wasn't about the blanket, right? He told you that it didn't
I know
have.
that now.
Yeah, he told you it didn't
Yes.
have anything to do with that, right? And when
Right.
you went and spoke with him, he told you that you and your mom had, that he and your mom were having terrible problems and that was why he left and it had nothing to do with you, right?
Exactly.
Okay, because that's the way it always is. It has nothing to do with the kids, right? It's nobody leaves because they don't love their children and, they love their spouse, but not their kids. It's not how it works. Okay, so look at your father right now standing on that porch. Are you willing to forgive him for the choices that he made with you and the choices that he made that day for himself, for being a man first and a father second? Are you willing to forgive him?
Yes. Yes.
Okay. And look at him and say to him in your mind's eye, or you can say it out loud, whatever it is that you would like that to forgive him.
Okay. Doing it in my head.
And is he willing to receive your forgiveness?
Oh, yes. Yes.
Yes. Now look at little Selma and ask her if she is also willing to receive your forgiveness. Because you have to forgive little Selma for misunderstanding. You have to forgive little Selma from believing mom. You have to forgive little Selma for not knowing any better. You have to forgive little Selma for being mischievous, for just playing, for not understanding any consequences, including just her mother's wrath, right? Which had nothing to do with the reality of the situation, and yet it was still there. So are you willing to forgive little Selma for all of those things?
Yes.
Yeah. And is little Selma able to receive your forgiveness?
Yeah.
Yeah. And we'll come back to little Selma in a minute. We're not done with her. But let's go to mom. Look at your mom. She has treated you like crap your entire life, obviously. And she constantly picks your brother over you, even though you don't want to live off of your mom the way that your brother's living off of her. That's not what you want. That's not healthy for you, right? It's not healthy for him, but never mind, right?
Right.
So everyone's always doing their best. It's just sometimes that sucks. And when our parents suck, it's usually because of how they were raised, the experiences that they had in their lifetimes, because they aren't given the right tools. Even Dr. Spock isn't really the parent handbook that we need. The parent handbook that we need is, pretty straightforward. Don't treat your kids like crap. But parents don't get that handbook, and they tend to, because they have bad tools, and their bad tools are bad modeling by the previous generation. and lack of education because we don't value it. So it wasn't exactly your mom's fault, although if she'd been a different person, she would have shown up better. So are you willing to forgive her?
Yes. Yes.
And is your mom able to receive your forgiveness?
I don't know.
Ask her in this moment, frozen in time, ask her, your adult Selma, just look over at her. She's talking to me right now, so I can hear her, but she has something she wants to tell you if you can listen. So can you hear her?
Yes.
What is she saying to you?
Part of her saying,
Move your hand. Thank you.
part of her saying that those are all my own issues.
Mm-hmm.
And that when am I going to stop blaming her or being mad at her? But deep down inside, I know that there's a heart. And I know that she loves me. She just doesn't know how to express it to me.
Okay, so what's your mother's first name?
Selma.
I'm going to talk to old Selma, okay? You're big Selma, little Selma standing on the porch. She's old Selma, okay? All right, I'm going to talk to old Selma for a minute. Old Selma, hi, it's Hallie. Old Selma, tell big Selma and little Selma what you're telling me right now. Speak the truth. Speak the truth from your highest place. Don't talk about what that moment was in that moment. Don't tell 7-year-old Selma about her issues. Speak the truth and tell big Selma and little Selma the truth about you. Now listen for what she's going to tell you and tell me what she says. What's she saying?
She's saying that she wants me to take care of her. Like she's the little girl and she just wants to be loved.
Mm-hmm. And what else does she say? Why has she acted the way that she's acted? Selma, tell Selma. Can you hear her?
But she's also been very hurt all her life, I guess. She didn't know how to do it any other way.
And that she's terrified. That's what she keeps saying to me over and over again. I'm terrified.
Yeah, she's like a child.
Mm-hmm. Yep. It's a good way of seeing it. She's like a child. Now, leave mom for a minute. Look at little Selma. Little Selma needs a new mom. Little Selma needs to be taken care of properly by somebody that isn't her mother because her mother doesn't have the right tools. Are you willing to be little Selma's new mom? Are you willing to take care of her?
Yes.
And are you willing to help little Selma get what she needs?
Yes.
Now, ask little Selma what she needs and tell me what she tells you.
She just needs to be loved, accepted, and trust that people aren't going to walk out on her. And she just likes to play a lot, be curious. She wants to feel safe and being able to do that and know that she's going to be loved.
Okay.
She just wants to be a child to be taken care of.
Okay. So, little Selma, tell big Selma 3 ways that she could take care of you and make you feel loved and taken care of. What are 3 ways?
To spend time with me
Mm-hmm.
and just laugh with me and hug me and provide the meals for me because mom doesn't make food and she was always asleep.
Okay, stick with what little Selma's telling you. Okay, she wants you to spend time with her, to laugh with her, and hug her, and to cook for her, right?
And just protect her.
So she's going to feel protected if you do all those things, right, little Selma?
Yes.
Okay. So big Selma.
And the most important thing is little Selma wants to be able to say things and know that she's still going to be loved even when she says things.
Mm-hmm. All right, great. So little Selma, will you feel safe to say things and still be loved if big Selma is demonstrating by spending time with you, laughing with and hugging you, and making meals for you? Will you know that it's safe to just talk and know that you're not going to get in trouble? Yeah.
Yes.
Yes. Okay. So, big Selma, sit back. When you cook for yourself, you are now cooking for little Selma also. When you set the table, you're setting the place for little Selma. That's good, right? Yes. These are tears of relief and not sadness.
They're tears of realizing that I've gotten to the point where I can't stand cooking anymore and I'm not taking care of my own family or myself. So it's a beautiful thing to realize that that's going to take care of me and my children, because that's when I know I'm being loved, is because I'm taking care of myself and little Selma.
Yep. Beautiful. Beautiful. So laugh with you and hug you. Now, we'll finish with a hug that will help you understand how to hug little Selma going forward. And laughing with her will mean choosing things to do, movies to watch, stuff like that, that makes you laugh, and deliberately putting little Selma in your lap when you do it. I want you to bring little Selma into your lap when you meditate. And I want you to bring little Selma into your lap when you do things that are funny and fun. And I want you to bring little Selma into your lap when you eat. Okie dokie? Little Selma, is all that okay with you?
Yes.
Okay.
That sounds fun.
Okay, good. Now, in your mind's eye, I want you to see little Selma come to you for a hug. And I want you to put your arms around you physically. Hold your elbows, cross your elbows and hold your arms across. So give yourself a big hug all the way up to your shoulders. That's it. And feel yourself as you're doing that. Feel yourself hugging little Selma. Can you feel that? And that makes little Selma really happy because for the first time in over 40 years, She has been held and cared for. And feel as she becomes one with you. Feel as she blends back into you. Can you feel that? And feel yourself holding yourself and giving yourself a hug that you really, really deserve, because you did great work. It was beautiful. Take 3 deep breaths. And when you're ready, open your eyes. I think things are going to get a lot easier for you going forward, Miss. That was great. I know you're so brave. Honestly, that is such hard work. But the good news is you never have to do it again. It's like you're done. So from now on, you are spending time with Selma. You're laughing with her and hugging her. That self-hug, you want to do that multiple times a day. Just really wrap your arms around yourself. When you finish exercising, a lot of times when you get finished with yoga, they have you do that self-hug. So you're going to do that. Just really like, I'm so awesome. Ooh, little Selma, you're so amazing. That's the kind of thing that can really help her to be connected with you. And then as you cook, to cook for little Selma. Little Selma needs to eat 3 times a day. So do your kids or you or whatever, but you're doing this for little Selma, okay? It's going to feel so much easier. And even like when you get up in the morning and you meditate, come on, little Selma, come sit on my lap. Little Hallie, by the way, is 6 and she loves to read. And so whenever, big Hallie is reading another goddess book, little Hallie's right there with her. And it energetically, it changes everything for you. So did beautifully. How do you feel?
Thank you. I feel better. Thank you.
Yeah.
That was a lot of insight. A big aha moment about the food cooking.
You look younger. I don't know how else to explain that, but that's what I'm seeing. You look younger. You look like the weight of the world has fallen off of you. So I will see you again very soon. And any insight that you have that you want to share with me, just follow up and let me know any more ahas that come to you. But that's your homework, is spend time with little Selma. Keep those commitments to her every single day, because what you said she wanted, to be able to say things and still be loved, will be proven to her through your actions. And so all you have to do is pay attention to her, spend time with her, laugh and with her and hug her and cook for her. And she'll be able to know that she's trustable. Okay? Beautiful.
Thank you so much, Hallie. Thank you so much.
All right. Thank you. You were unbelievably brave. I'm really proud of you.
Have a wonderful day. Thank you.
You too. Blessings. Right. Bye.
You have just listened to another enlightening and transforming episode of Your Goddess Awakened with Hallie Evelyn. We hope you enjoyed your time with us, and join us again next time so you can continue your journey towards a full transformation. For additional resources and to learn more about working with Hallie Evelyn, visit HallieEvelyn.com. Receive more, do less, and love your life. Only here on Your Goddess Awakened.